Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Yoran Alive. I'm live from Bucharest, Romania at the JCC Jewish Community Center. Once again, thanks to Adi and Sophia for helping me and letting me do this every time that I'm doing the broadcast almost. So yeah, welcome to today's 150th broadcast on PFA or PFA versus SRL, the types of companies that you can open in Romania. And I'm joined with a very beautiful lady today who has come before to the studio with me. Joining me once again is Ruxandra Visoiu, who is co-founder of R&R Partners Bucharest. So I'll just give a slight read through about Ruxandra. Ruxandra is a practicing attorney, member of the Bucharest Bar Association. After finishing her studies at the Faculty of Law, University of Bucharest, she was employed in one of the top tier law firms in Bucharest until she decided to leave the corporate world behind and set up her own law office. She is specialized in commercial and immigration law, having worked over time with numerous Romanian and international clients on various cases. As I said, she's a co-founder of R&R Partners. It's a law firm specialized in commercial law with a focus on business law, immigration law, and GDPR. Their purpose is to offer high quality services by fully understanding the requirements of their clients and offering the best solutions for their projects. The main values they promote are transparency and cooperation, always aiming to implement a personalized strategy for each respective project. So, Sandra, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Thank you for the invitation and the kind word. It's very interesting to hear about yourself from another person.
I hope it sounded good.
Yeah, it did. It sounded great. Yeah, especially when you say it. I think it's been a while since you keep on praising me, so thank you. I have to send you a gift basket or something. I'm good. It's good. It's Friday. Yeah. You cut that later, right? Yeah. It's a Friday. We're good. We still have some stuff to do at the office, but it's great that I can make time also for this kind of chat because they're really interesting, and I really like hearing everybody's questions on this topic. They even make us think about more stuff that maybe in our day-to-day life and have everything on automatic we do not think about. So it's really nice.
I totally agree to what you just said, Ruxandra. And what I'm doing right now is that I'm just placing a comment saying that people, please feel free to write in your questions and queries to Ruxandra on the live broadcast. So you can come to my page, Yoran Alive, and join the broadcast. And in through the live chat, you can just put in your question. And what we will do is we will take them up as and how they show up on the feed. So do join in with us for today's session right from there. So Ruxandra, I don't know, how should we start? Can you tell us, let's start with the basic differentiation between what is PFA or PFA and SRL or SRL.
Yeah, sure. The SRL is a limited liability company in Romania. That's how you would describe it, like the equivalent of an LLC, the American or the English LLC. Why the PFA is a sole entrepreneurship. It's a type of company where you are there by yourself, especially for freelancers. But as we will get into details, I will show that even the PFA can have employees, can be more active, and it doesn't really need to be just you by yourself. I would start by saying that in the SRL, it's important to know that you can have more people because, for example, if you want to associate with a friend or a spouse, maybe you're very good at something and they're very good at something else, then you can come together and be associates in a SRL. If each of one of you wants to have their own PFA, then you can collaborate, of course, but you cannot have a company together. You do not share the burden in the same way.
When you say you can collaborate, but you don't share the burden, I was just trying to understand the difference here.
Yeah. There's a big difference, especially in liability. This is a very technical thing, but I will put it like this. For example, if your company doesn't do that well, and at some point you have quite a lot of debt, you didn't have time to, I don't know, pay your credit to the bank, or you have some goods that you have to pay for and you don't have money for them. If you are in an LLC, this is very important to know. As its name says, it's limited liability. So what you put in the company, only that can be followed by any creditors that you have, or the bank, or the state, the Romanian state, if you have debts or so on. While on the PFA, you are also responsible with your own goods. So if me, Ruxandra, has a PFA and I get into debt, then they can also come after my house or my car or the money that I have in a personal account. While the limited liability is limited. So what you put in the company, that's all that you can have. And to come back to your question, when you have PFAs that work together, usually when you have a contract, one of you will be the one who will sign it, and they will only be liable in that contract. But if you're together in a company, then we share that burden in that way, that both of us being associates, we form another entity. We're somebody else together. That's how it is with the company.
Okay. So I understand from both SRL and PFA, you can have employees. Now, is there a certain limit to PFA since it is a small sized company?
Yeah, you can, by law, you can have a maximum of 3 employees. The thing is that on the SRL, you do not really, it's fine. However many employees you want to have, you can have them.
Okay.
And I want to say something very quick, because we will get that then in details, and we will forget it maybe. These are not the only types of Romanian companies, but they are the most used ones. In case anybody tells. There are a few more. There's also a company called SR. This is a joint stock company, but this is for bigger corporations. When you want to go and be on the stock exchange, so you have shares that can be publicly bought, like if you want to buy shares in Coca-Cola or something. Coca-Cola is not, it's joint stock. Then you build yourself, you may build your SRL, because in the beginning you might have a SRL into an SA, but this is only for later. We'll think about entrepreneurs that are in the beginning right now, so we do not want to talk about that. So this is the SA.
So if people want to get into SA, would you also be a professional advisor for this kind of company venture?
Somebody
wants to do it, can they come to you for this? Simply as that.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Okay. It can be done. It's no problem. But usually people who have SRL, like bigger companies, turn them into SI. I've done that in the past as well. But just so you know, so it's not something weird. There's another type of company. Also, there's a type of company that is no longer used. It's called Comandita. I will not even get into details. They teach you about it in school, but it's like a unicorn. Nobody saw it. Nobody knows about it. Nobody has it. This Comandita thing is never used.
Okay.
And
so people just people have just heard about it. It's nowhere to be seen.
There's another type of company. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. You don't see it. I hope you see me well, because I have it shows that my internet is unstable, but I don't know why.
Yeah,
it has issues. My internet has issues. But I'm close to the router. So
at the moment, you are like a unicorn, so we have just heard about you. We cannot see you. So, yeah, no problem. Maybe you want to fix it.
You cannot see me. Oh,
we cannot see you. Probably if you want to try now, if you want to try connecting,
I will make a hotspot.
If you can. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I will make a hotspot.
Okay, I can see you.
I think there are too many people in the office using. You can see me now?
Too many.
Okay,
Everybody leave.
I'll make a hotspot just in case.
Sure. And you can
go.
You can also face the camera a little lower so we can see you, because you seem to be a little too low on the frame. So yeah, that's better. That's better. Yeah. That looks better. So I'm with Ruxandra.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, Ruxandra.
Okay.
So as I said, I'm with Ruxandra for the 150th broadcast on PFA versus SRL, or PFA versus SRL, two different type of companies, which one can start for his business depending on your needs and what you would like to do with it. So if you have any kind of questions that you would like to approach Ruxandra with, who's working and co-founder of R&R Partners Bucharest, definitely feel free, write in those questions into the live chat from the page You Ran Alive. Okay, so Ruxandra, we have a question come in from Sophia, and she's saying this is an interesting subject. So Sophia, thank you. What are the taxes you need to pay when you are PFA versus SRL?
Yes, that is a very important question, because people usually want to know how much it costs, like which is the cheapest one, and so on, in the very beginning at least.
Mm-hmm.
So as regards taxes, that's why we usually recommend SRL, not the PFA, because the SRL pays the least amount of taxes. When you are a SRL, you have all the income in the company, you pay 1% on that entire income without any deduction or other expenses, if you have at least one employee. If you have no employees, like it's just you in the SRL, because it's also possible to be a sole enterprise. If it's just you and you have no employees, you pay 3%. So you have 3% on the entire income. That is the tax on income that you pay as a SRL. And also you should know that you should also get dividends. So you should pay yourself as company founder. We should make money out of our business, right?
Absolutely.
And you get, yeah, and you get dividends either at the end of the year or even every 3 months. That's when you pay another 5% on dividends, and that's the main taxes that you will pay for this type of company. If you want to have a, yeah, I hope it's kind of clear. For the PFA, you will have about 1/3 of your income tax. This includes the tax on income itself, and also you will pay for your health insurance, the state health insurance, and also for other social benefits. For example, if you have a PFA, you will pay in the sense that at the end of your activity, you will get a pension. You do not have that by default when you are in a SRL. That's important to know if you don't employ yourself.
So in PFA, you can get a pension, but in SRL, if you don't employ yourself, you don't get it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a problem. But many people, when they start a company, do not care about that. So from our experience, it's not the main issue here.
So I had a question to ask at this moment, right?
Yeah.
May I? So
yeah, sure.
when you're paying these dividends, right? So you're paying dividends in, or as we call it, money for yourself, right? It's like profit of the business that you're making. Does this sound correct? I'm trying to make it simple for people to understand, like me, who don't get these terms maybe. So when can one take benefit of these dividends?
Well, as I said, you can pay them to yourself once per year or every 3 months. You cannot have dividends every month, for example. Up until 1 year or something, you could only pay them at the end of the year. So that was a problem with the SRL. You don't have that fast access to money. You get money into the company, but you must wait a while until you actually use it. For example, if I want to pay my groceries, I can do that with the money from the PFA. I can just use it directly. I can go to Mega Image and buy my groceries for the week. It's no problem.
Okay.
But you cannot use the money in your SRL to buy your groceries, because those would be company expenses. That's how it is.
And just to retouch that again. So when can I touch this money?
Every 3 months or once per year.
Or once per year.
Your accountant.
Yeah. And is there like an amount of money that you can remove once per year or every 3 months? Is there an amount that you can touch, or you can take it all out?
Well, you can take it all out when you're at the end of the year. An accountant can better explain this. When you're at the end of the year, you must see how much income you have and the expenses you have, and what you have left is profit. And this profit, of course, it's yours because you might be the sole owner. If you are with more people in the company, you will share it with them. You share also the burden, but also the money. That's how it works.
Well,
And
yeah, of course.
Yeah, and this money will be used by you after you pay yourself dividends, but you can also invest it in the company. For example, you're not obligated to use the money that you have at the end of the year just for you. You can, if you want to have a better facility, if you have a factory, if you want to employ new people, like you can pay their wages and so on. It's something that is your decision. Many people invest it.
Okay, so Sophia, thank you for asking the question about the taxes. If the question was not answered to a particular point, then please rephrase the question once again and write it in again to us, and I'm sure Ruxandra will take it up and reply back to you. So anybody else that has questions, please do write into the live chat. We would be very glad to take them up and answer it for you. We are talking about the two different types of companies, SRL versus PFA, SRL versus PFA. How do you say versus in Romanian? Like PFA versus SRL. How is versus in Romanian? What is the word? Versus. Okay, just for general knowledge. Okay.
Yeah, I use the VS because it's easier. Like I would not say compared with PFA compared with SRL or something like that. It sounds more complicated.
Yeah. Okay. So Ruxandra, let's say a person decides, okay, I want to go for PFA or I want to go for SRL, but let's talk about what would be easier to incorporate and what would be easier to, I don't know if that's the same word as to start with, paperwork, bureaucracy. I don't know. Does it correlate? Is it the same thing as incorporate as you had in mind? Or these are two different things?
Yeah. No, it's the same thing. I don't see you anymore.
Yeah. You see, we all have technical. We are all having technical issues. What can I say? Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
I should be back.
You said the question is hi, bye.
Tell me.
Yeah, sure. So incorporation, that's exactly what it is. Because when you say that I want to start a company, there's a stack of paperwork that I have to prepare, and I have to take it somewhere. That institution is the trade registry. That's the institution, Registrul Comerțului in Romania. Registrul Comerțului. Comerț from commerce, and registru because they incorporate stuff.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, please.
No, I'm just saying I like the fact that you're making it very simple for people to understand what each word means. I think these things are very important. The small details matter, and that's why I really enjoy doing the broadcast with you, because you explain everything so simply in plain language. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's what I'm trying to do, because I know it's complicated and it can be very boring and technical. Like I know, I correlate to that. So you asked me which one is easier to incorporate. The PFA is a bit easier because you have a little less paperwork, but all in all, both of them need about the same things. For example, you begin with the name reservation. You must check that the name you thought about is possible. And with the PFA, it's very simple. Like me, Ruxandra Visoiu, I have no other name. Like this is my entire name. I will have Ruxandra Visoiu PFA. That will be my company name. But PFA cannot be called, for example, legal services PFA. It's not possible. The PFA will always have your name. Strangely enough, even in this case, you must make a name reservation, because it's another Ruxandra Visoiu out there who made the PFA before me.
Okay.
Then I have some options. I can put another letter, like my father's letter, between Ruxandra and Visoiu, so that I have a specific name. It's like with domains or email addresses, you have to figure out something. But the SRL is a bit more flexible on this. You can put another name, like not the names of the founders, but it must be a very specific name. For example, if I want legal services SRL, it's most probably out there somewhere. Somebody did it before me, and I must put like professional, exceptional legal services SRL or another structure in the name, maybe something about my name if I like an idea. People are very creative with names usually. So this you must be careful about, that your name must be very specific. And also you must show where your company will be headquartered. So me as a person, I have my domicile, right? It's in my bulletin, in my ID.
Okay.
Even a company, because it's a legal entity, must have a place of their own, the places where they get correspondence, when you have the company papers, and depending on when the headquarters are. For example, if somebody wants to sue me or something, they know that they go to the court in Bucharest. Yeah, we don't think about this stuff, but
okay, yeah, we got to be careful. Very true.
Yeah,
Go on.
of course. And you must show that you have some headquarters for the PFA. These headquarters can be at your place or a friend or something, even your parents, if they want to make a lease agreement or a comodatum. We have a comodat agreement that is free for the headquarters as an option as well. But for the SRL, besides that, you can always put it at the lawyer's office, which is a great help if you go virtual. Like your company is not set somewhere. You might be a digital nomad. You might travel around the world. We have many headquarters of companies at our office, and we can help people with that.
So I understand for PFA, you need to have a domicile for the company, but for SRL, you don't need to have a location or a domicile.
You need a location, like the same with the PFA, but it can also be at the lawyer's office. You cannot do that for PFA.
I see. I see. Okay. Okay. I see.
I gave you something to think about.
It's something. I don't think people think about these things, and I think it's very important for them to understand how it actually works as well. Now, coming back to the question about what is easier to incorporate, do you have or do you know if there is a list of documents that is required for PFA, and then a list of documents that a person would require for SRL, and are they different?
Yes, they are different. I would not like to go into the full list. That's what I started, just with the name and the fact that no, it's a very big list. We would stay here maybe until tomorrow, because the list itself is not very large, but each document has a lot of tips and tricks and stuff. But
I totally understand. Okay, I think we just have lost connection with Ruxandra, and well, this is technology for today. What can we say? It's never enough. It somehow always has to be an issue. But let's hold on till she shows up, and I'm hoping that she will be able to join us back in. So yeah, so at this point we are talking about the different types of documents that are required, and what I understood from Ruxandra is that the list is huge. And well, being 6 years in Romania and even doing the application for your own stay in the country like a resident, right? So I'm coming from India, I'm not even EU, right? I have an Israeli passport. Okay, I'm putting out information out there about myself, but hey, come on, I'm sure people know that. Who wants to know will find out anyway. So a lot of list of our documents that you need, and the same thing, I suppose, obviously would go when you're doing and creating a company. And yeah, so you need to be very careful about this, and I wouldn't say to try this by yourself. Definitely, unless you have somebody's connection, then that's great, but if not, it would be great to have a good I would say companion, and in this case it would be Ruxandra and Remus, who are from R&R Bucharest. I see Ruxandra is back with us. Beautiful with a smile. We cannot hear you though. We cannot hear you. So just try to see about the audio. I can see you, but I cannot hear you. So Okay, Ruxandra is connecting to audio. Okay, just try to have a look about that. Also, I understand that there are certain things that you cannot perform as a company unless it's not mentioned, the fact that it is what your company does. So you need to be careful about this. I'm going to touch these topics with Ruxandra as well. Ruxandra, are you with us?
Hi, I'm sorry for that. I put myself on my mobile phone because I had some problems with my laptop. Sorry.
I will be very frank with you. You're looking even more beautiful at the moment, and
Oh, thank you.
the video is much crisp, and it looks
Really?
much better. Absolutely, yes, yes.
Glad to hear that.
So I would suggest the next time when you're doing a broadcast, and it's not with me,
yeah,
you should definitely use your phone as compared to the laptop, because the quality of the video is fantastic.
Yeah,
Just
thank you.
No worries.
It's good that we have options nowadays.
At least that, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Previously, it's like, okay, you don't have something, the connection is not, okay, I can't do anything. Okay, here we go. You can start with the laptop, you can start with the phone, you can start with the tablet. So good to have you back.
Yeah, thank you.
So we were talking about what is easier to incorporate. I was asking you about the list of things for each kind of company, but I understand from you that it is difficult because, or not difficult, should I say, it's a long list, so we won't get into that. But is there something that you would like to touch regarding this point?
Yeah, the main difference between them for the headquarters, I already said, you can have headquarters at the lawyer's office if you're with the SRL, but at the PFA, it's not possible. But I would like to say that for the SRL, it's also important to know you should have 200 lei as initial share capital. This is amount of money that you put in the bank. You show the proof that the money was deposited in the bank, while for the PFA, you have not such a minimum investment. It's like you can start with 0 lei in the bank. There's no problem.
I see.
Yeah, and for the PFA, you have just a little form. For the SRL, there are more documents. For example, you have the bylaws, act constitutive. This is the most important document. It says everything about your company, the associates, the administrators, the headquarters, the activities that you want to have on the company, because you can have more activities.
Okay.
And yeah, this bylaw is necessary only for the SRL. For the PFA, being a simpler, more simple type of company, you do not need it. What I would also like to say is that you need to show a specimen of signature. This is a bit archaic to my liking, because I think that nobody goes to the trade registry to check that my specimen is the same as the one that I'm signing a contract now with. That's the idea. If the trade registry knows your signature, then you cannot make a forgery, but I don't think it helps in any way. It's just another formality.
Okay, I'm just asking a very generalized question. Like in some countries, I mean, I've been in Israel. I lived in Israel for 11 years, and I know creating a business, because I started off a PFA, I think a small business in Israel, in a day's time. It was like in no time, with hardly any paperwork, really hardly any paperwork. Why do you think other countries, for this matter, including Romania, has a more bureaucratic process for this, even for the PFA?
Well, when you think about it, we don't have companies in Romania for that much longer than from the 90s, like from 1990. That's when we started having companies in Romania. That's when our first law of companies was created, Law 31, if anybody is interested. And before that, we were under communism. So I could not own a company because I could not own anything legally, not even the house where I was living was mine. So
totally makes sense. Yeah, I totally get that. So let's say if somebody wants to create PFA or SRL, how much time would be needed from registration? Like you have all the paperwork, bam, yeah, you have everything is done. I'm not talking about this paper is not there, that is not there, you need to get this stamp. Let's say everything is done, file is ready, you have registered. How long does it take to creation of the company?
Well, you have the company in around 3 days from the moment that you register everything, like every single document that is needed. again, as you said, I will not refer to the situation where you submit the document and the trade registry maybe says that they want something a bit more,
Exactly.
like a bit different or something like that. No,
Mm-hmm.
it takes about 3 days. But what I can tell you that even if you have the company in 3 days, you will need to wait for the trade registry to issue the certificate, the original one for the company, and this can take a while. There's been some COVID cases at the trade registry. It's been really bad, like with this pandemic.
Right.
Yeah, and we did that in the past as well. If somebody comes to us, we do not go in person at the trade registry. Everything is done electronically, 100%. All the papers, everything. All the papers are signed electronically and sent to the trade registry, and then we wait for the post to come to us with the papers. If you go at the trade registry by yourself, you will wait for many hours in the line, and unfortunately, if something is wrong, you'll have to go back and maybe come back again and also come and get the papers yourself. So you can have 3 or 4 days that you spend on this, which is a lot.
I see.
Yes. So electronically is the fastest way you can go. And that's what the point that I wanted to reach is that now with the COVID situation, we ended up getting the certificates, the originals, a little later. They usually reached us in maximum 1 week. Now we have some that were sent to us after 2 weeks. But even so, you have a company, like it's active, you can do things on it. It's not... it exists, it's out there.
Okay. Another thing, for these bureaucratic journeys to the different offices, does the person himself creating the business need to be there, or can someone represent him for the procedures?
Well, yeah, for the procedure, for example, if somebody comes to us, we represent them legally because we're lawyers. But if you have another person, there's even some accountants on the market that set up businesses. Like, I'm not afraid to say that some people do go to their accountant and ask them, would you be able to set up my company? And sometimes they do. They need the power of attorney from the notary. Like, you cannot do it without it. But you can give mandates to somebody else to set up your company. You don't have to go there in person.
Okay, so that is also helpful, just in case people don't want to go and to visit the offices and stuff like that. So I was just trying to touch the point right there. Can one, Ruxandra, create a company without being present in Romania? PFA, SRL, both?
Yes. Well, the only problem with this incorporation, we did it many times. Like, people are abroad and they want a company set up and they come to Romania later. The only problem is not with us, not with the trade registry, but strangely enough, the problem that we usually have is with the bank. When you set up a bank account for your company, you can do that through your lawyer. You can do that from a distance. Even with the bylaws, we don't need a DHL or something sent to us with the originals. We can do everything with scans.
Okay, but, fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But here comes the not so nice part.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, you will have the account set up for your company formation, like your company exists. But if you want to use that account, like receive money, pay money, get money for your clients and so on, usually banks want you to come here and sign some papers in person. That's how it is with most banks. I cannot do that for you as a lawyer because I don't want to be empowered on your company account. I would end up signing stuff and maybe being even responsible for your commercial situation, and nobody wants to do that.
Okay, so the question comes up here is, I remember we had touched about this, the electronic signature. Can't this be something that can be used, or why is it not used by the banks?
I hope that banks will start using it because there are some banks that are trying to become more digital, but usually it's not possible, unfortunately. I hope it will change in the future, but for the moment it doesn't help. It started to pick up even very, very loosely with other authorities, and the banks are even more bureaucratic than public authorities, unfortunately.
I see. Okay. So I have a friend actually that's writing in, and he's saying SRL does allow foreign investment, and is there, Oh, he's asking, does SRL allow foreign investment, and is there some limit of share allocation? So I'm expecting, Hillel, that this is a question because I don't see a question mark, but I will take it up as a question. Ruxandra, would you want to answer that?
Yeah. No, there is not a limit to that. You can have 100% of your shares, like all your shares, to be bought, to be not bought because you're incorporating, to be held by you as a foreign investor, either non-EU or EU. It has nothing to do with it. But what you should know about the PFA, and which I did not have the chance to say, is that the PFA can also be registered by a foreigner. That's why we're having the conversation here and in English. If we're speaking for Romanians, it wouldn't be that.
Hai să vorbim în română, se poate.
Română, exact. Poți, știu că poți.
Puțin, nu mult. Sorry. No.
Yeah, and the PFA can only be registered if you have either a CNP, which is obtained when you have a residency permit in Romania usually, or when you have a NIF. This NIF thing is a number you get from the tax authorities, which allows you to pay taxes in Romania and do stuff here without being resident. Like buy an apartment and pay your taxes for that apartment, for example, make investment.
Now, is there a difference in procedure if this person who's not in Romania wanting to start a business, whether he's EU or non-EU, or the procedures are the same?
Not really. What I would like to point out with this thing of having a company done from a foreign country is that either if you are non-EU or EU, you should know that if you want to incorporate in Romania up until November this year, because of the pandemic, many documents that are needed for incorporation can be done without going to a notary. Because there are some stuff that you would need to sign in front of the embassy or a notary in your country if you want to stay in your country, and we just take care of the process. But now with the COVID thing, we can do everything just with scans and signing papers from a distance without involving a public authority.
Yeah, this is absolutely good, which is helping people to do the bureaucratic stuff online, get everything accumulated or collected together online, and then you can just apply. So thanks for that, Ruxandra. Hillel, I hope Ruxandra has answered the question. Please let me know if you want to rephrase and ask another question. We don't mind, put it in. Ruxandra will definitely answer that. It's the 150th broadcast with You Ran Alive, and I'm very happy to have Ruxandra Visoiu, who is also the co-founder of R&R Bucharest, Romania, which is a law firm. Definitely check out the event and you'll get some more information. Just that you know, the live will end in another 20-25 minutes, most probably, but the broadcast will still stay on the page. So you can always come again later, go through it and ask your question, and I will see that the question is directed and redirected to the R&R Partners of Bucharest. If you have any kind of questions at the moment, please fill them into the live chat. And thank you for all the questions that have come in so far. I have Judith that has written in right now, Ruxandra, and she's saying, when you have to pay the 200 RON to start SRL, do you do this from a private account, or do I need to open a business account first or afterwards?
No, so the procedure is like this. When you start a company, when you do the company papers, one of the steps is that you open a bank account for your company. So in a sense, yes, you need a business account, but the business account doesn't have to receive money from another business account. It will either receive money from you as an individual, as a natural person, or you can just ask your lawyer to make the transfer. It's very important to know that the description of the transfer must say share capital, capital social, and maybe the person for which the share capital is deposited. Because, for example, if you are two associates and each of you would pay 100 lei, because the share capital must say exactly how much you bring to the company. If I bring 1/4 for the company, I will not pay half of the share capital. I will pay just a quarter. But if I go 50-50, each of you will pay 100 lei. That will be sent from personal account, or if you go in person to the bank and say, okay, I want to open a company, I need you to help me make a business account. You can just bring the money cash, and usually if they have a facility where they receive cash, they can help you just deposit the money. And for the trade registry, all that they have to see is an excerpt showing this bank account made on the name of like legal services SRL, which is being the company that is being incorporated, has 200 lei in it, which are share capital. That's all that you need. Nothing special.
Okay, so Judith, thank you for that question. Ruxandra, thank you for answering. If you think you would want to rephrase and ask the question again, please do that, or you can ask a different question as well, but thank you for writing in. So Ruxandra, I would want to move ahead and ask also about the fact that I understand in I don't know if it's PFA or SRL or both, any kind of service that you do provide to your clients, it needs to be mentioned into the company. So one cannot issue an invoice for, let's say, for example, I don't know, selling certain goods and issue an invoice for a photography session, for example, or doing a live broadcast session. Does that imply for both companies, both types of companies?
Yes, we didn't even have the time to talk about that. Each company must have a certain activity that it does as a main activity, its main KN code. These are similar, maybe people from other countries have heard them as NIS codes. These codes are a list, like they're 4 digits, and these 4 digits say the services that you want to do on the company. It's a different code, like if I am an IT guy, or if I am a freelancer who does work, or if I am a translator. Each of these types of activities has a code. Right. And you will have like one main code and maybe more codes as secondary codes. You will then have to issue invoices, of course, for activities that are not only in your company bylaws, if you're talking about SRL, but they're also authorized. So you say, not only do I have all these activities on my company, but I actually do them, because otherwise you could have problems from the authorities. They would say that the money that you received is from unauthorized activities. Like you said, I'm a photographer and I issue an invoice for translations. It's not really okay. It's not fine.
Okay, so then let me ask you a question like that, right? So let's say a photographer also wants to be a broadcaster and also wants to do translation. So can he start a company with those codes all included?
Yeah, sure.
Is there a certain fee for a number of certain codes that he needs to pay?
In the past, there was, like, I think 10 years or something before, the more codes you put in the company, the more expensive it was to incorporate. But now it doesn't cost more. When people usually come to us and incorporate, we ask them, okay, maybe you want to do cooking in this company, you want to open a restaurant or something. Would you like anything to do in the next 3, 4, 5 years? Because if you put all the codes from the very beginning, then it will not be more money and time consuming for you to add them in the future. Maybe you want also to have cooking lessons. That's another code for teaching and activities that are auxiliary, because it's better to think about all these kinds of things from the very beginning. But in all cases, you must know that the activity from which you expect the most money, like I think that the most of my money will come from photography. That will be your main code, because you cannot have a main code in translations and that all your invoices will be on photography. It's not that okay.
Okay, so I'm trying to understand, it is very important to know exactly what are the different types of businesses or types of activities you would like to perform through your business as a company.
Yeah.
But what if after 3 years I decide that I want to start, like you said, a food industry, right? I'm a photographer, but now I want to start a restaurant. Yeah. Why would, is that difficult to include the code? Is there a procedure for this? Is it difficult?
No, it's not difficult. I would advise to have the code from the beginning if you can. But then if your entire business changes, like you no longer do, as you said, photography, you only have a restaurant, then I would advise you to change your main code with the code on which you think you will get the most money. because it's better to have it that way. But you don't have another company. You do not have to close this one and open another company. It doesn't make sense. Only if you want to have more companies with more activities, but it doesn't help you that much. Yeah, that's what you should do. You can make any changes on the company later. You can change your headquarters, you can change your name, you can change your activity codes. Everything about everything can be changed.
Right, and this doesn't come with a fee from the registrar or something like that.
It comes with a fee, but it's not that large. Like, again, I'm talking only about fees, not at the trade registry, not about fees for your lawyers or consultants or whoever helps you. So just for that, the fee would be around a couple of hundred lei. You will have to register a decision of the shareholders saying, or of the sole shareholder if it's only you, and say, me, Ioran, as a shareholder, decide that I want to change my main activity from photography to restaurant industry, and you put in the code. And then, and then also your bylaws will have to be updated because they will say your main code and the certificate of registration, the colored one. Again, you'll have to take the old one and you will get a new one saying restaurants, not photography.
So as a non-business owner like me, and just looking at it from outside the box, right? And I'm just thinking, why would the government or the registrar consider something that I'm doing that is not written? Or why would it be important for it to be written that this is the main activity or these are the activities? And if I am having receipts for whatever activity that is not mentioned on my company, under my company, would be considered illegal. I'm just trying to understand, why is this a big deal? Or maybe you can throw light for a person who's an immature like me.
Well, I would start by saying that this is not specific to Romania. Like, mostly like around the world, if you want to set up a business, you should say what you do on that company. I will give you an example. If I want to have a company that deals in bookkeeping, like accountancy, me, Ruxandra, cannot do that because I don't have the authorizations. I'm not an authorized bookkeeper. So I would not be able to issue invoices legally on that activity. And if I put that as an activity, the trade registry will say, it's not okay. Think about another activity to open the company, and then you come back to us. So it makes sense in some cases when you need special authorizations, and also if you want, I don't know, to sell ammunition in some cases, maybe you're authorized for that. These are very specific cases, but it makes sense so that you say what you're doing in the company. And also, it will sound weird, but it's very important for countries to know what activities are done in companies, even if they don't go with the control or something over them, because they keep track of that. It's statistics.
Okay, so let's talk about. We have a lot of freelancers that are growing, and you know that I had one of the freelancers of Romania, right? I think that was the person. So what do you, for them, what advice would you give them? What kind of a company to start would be best for them?
What I usually recommend to clients is, if they want to have an income that is easily accessible and they don't have maybe this freelancer thing as a side job, because many people keep a main job as well. If they really depend on this PFA money and they don't have some money put aside for the first 3 months or for the first year when they open a company, maybe the PFA is better for them. But the cheapest one by far is the SRL as regards taxes. And that's why, if you think about money in the long run, you should use that. You should use the SRL, not the PFA. And the SRL is also good if you want maybe to scale your business. You cannot sell a PFA to another person. You cannot be bought as a business, you know, as a PFA, because it's very strictly related to you. A PFA of Ruxandra Visoiu can only belong to me. I cannot sell my business and make money from an exit and go in the Belize Islands with the money after that. It's not possible.
So what about, so I'm just asking a general question. What about companies that are, how do you say, that are taken up, right? So there are today a lot of IT companies are buying other IT companies. So does that So that company does not need to be a SRL, or how does that work?
No, it needs to be a SRL. That's what I was trying to explain, that the SRL can be bought. You can have investors in the company.
I see.
You can exit. Yeah, but the PFA is strictly related to me. It's not possible to sell my soul, to put it like that, and my company to another person. I cannot do that.
Thanks for clearing that. Thank you, Ruxandra. Okay, and what would you say is the cheapest type of company to maintain, for that matter? PFA,
well, you should know that if you have a PFA and you don't have a big budget in the beginning, what you can do, and some people do, you can also keep your own books. You can do your own bookkeeping, so you cut the cost with the accountant. I do not really recommend it, but if you really have like little money in the beginning, it's easier to maintain a PFA, and that would be my advice. But as regards taxes, you will pay on the long run a lot less for the SRL, even if you pay an accountant monthly, even if you will get access to the money only by dividends. It's very like the tax of 1% or 3%. We're very good with taxes for the SRL in Romania. It's a bit of a tax heaven at this moment. I hope it will remain that way.
This way, right? Okay. I see. So you're saying SRL is much better, as a cheaper way to maintain it. Okay. So I'm with Ruxandra Visoiu on the 150th broadcast on Your RAN Alive. We are talking about the two different types of companies, PFA or PFA versus the SRL or the SRL company. So if you all have any kind of questions, you freelancers out there, or all you business people with money filled in your pockets and wanting to start something in Romania, now is the time. Ask those questions, get to know R&R Partners Bucharest, Ruxandra, as well as her husband Remus, and we can strike up a conversation. So feel free to join into the broadcast, right into the live chat, and I will take those questions up with Ruxandra. What about which type of firm is best for scaling a potential sale? So I think so over here, it's a clear-cut answer, which would be SRL, right?
Yes, it is. It is. You cannot scale a PFA. It's not possible. You cannot have somebody invest in your company as a shareholder. You can have people lending you money as a company, but it's not the best way to go every time. It's not a proper investment.
Okay. I understand. Well, what about if you can give us, I mean, through your experience that you've had personally, as well as with the company R&R Partners Bucharest, what would be, or have you, what are the common mistakes that you have seen that people have done in the past, and today they should avoid it, or people should avoid these things?
First of all, the exact subject of this conversation. They sometimes choose the wrong type of company in the very beginning. We've had clients with both cases who had SRL and wanted the PFA because they thought it was too complicated. They wanted something very easy. They wanted to do their own bookkeeping. They didn't care about the low taxes. They just wanted quick access to money. They had to close the SRL and open the PFA because it cannot be converted. You cannot take the PFA and convert it legally into a SRL. Wow. You have to close and open another company. It's nasty.
This was going to be my next question. So can you convert? And so you answered that. Okay. Is there anything else out there regarding common mistakes or other mistakes or things that you would like to point out?
Yes, there are many people who do not have a good communication with their lawyer, but also with their accountant. I know many people that do not know how to issue their invoices right. So I will just get into the subject a bit. You should speak to your accountant and be very careful to do everything right from the very beginning, because otherwise you will make their job really, really hard. And you will have problems in the future if you have at some point some troubles and you get a control, like somebody checks you from the public authorities. Your accountant, okay, he's liable for their own activity, but he's not liable for the way you issue your invoices, to make your right contracts, for example. Like, people sometimes do not sign contracts for even big sums. They just rely on word conversations over the phone or over the email, and it's better to have everything in writing. So that's a business thing that is very useful.
Yes, I think that's a very, very good point. Even though it's good to speak and talk, which I prefer, face-to-face conversations or even over the phone, it's important that the main points are mentioned in email so that one doesn't say, you didn't say that, oh, I did mention that, you didn't hear me, I wrote, this is the first thing I mentioned, like it was the last thing I mentioned. So yeah, this is absolutely a good point where you need to write things down or at least sum it up at the end of the verbal conversation, that you have a proper email, a proper conversation that is being carried out. So good point there. So Judith is asking us another question over here, that I heard that Anaf will come every month to check the casa.
No, they don't have enough money for that. They don't have enough people for that. No, every month. I don't know who told you that. So what you should know is that in certain industries, it's a bigger probability for enough for the tax authorities to come and check you. I have many examples from businesses that are very public. Like I know people who have mini markets or restaurants, and they are checked a lot. Like if I'm a digital nomad and I live wherever I want, and my company is public, like it's in the trade registry, but it's not out there in the street, I will most probably not get a tax check. But if you have, as I said, a business that is out there, it's on the street, it's very public, many people go and come in and out, you might have this kind of checks. But nobody comes every month. No, it's crazy. You have maybe on very big businesses, they might have bigger checks. When the tax authorities come, they want to come to somebody who will actually have some problems, or they can find some problems, so they could get a lot of money. If you're a small business, they will either come, I don't know, more frequently to you to get smaller sums over the time, or they just go to a big corporation and they will find something to find them for thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, so they can get their sums.
Okay. So Judith, the question is, what exactly is your business that you want to start with? And I think we can take it ahead from there, and then Ruxandra will be able to guide you on that front. Otherwise, if it's a small business, there's nothing to really worry about. Ruxandra, is there like a limit of the size of a SRL or a PFA that you as R&R Partners Bucharest deal with, or it's unlimited?
Not really. The size is not really important, because when you begin, as I said, you can even have, like, even if you turn to be a big company, you can start just with 200 lei in the bank, and then you just add up. We incorporated companies that were that received the investment money, and they even turn into big factories. Like we even have that kind of incorporations, or you even take the small business owners who are freelancers and they just want a company from themselves. So we had a very large range of types of companies.
Lovely. So Judith is saying she's going to have a chiropractor's office. So Judith, you do know who to get in touch with. She's right here live with me. If you need in any way for me to connect you with Ruxandra, please let me know and I will do that for you. Not a problem. So Ruxandra, one of the most important things I know that you mentioned is to have a good a law firm, and I know that you people are, and not only in business but also as people, very communicative, down to earth, listening to your clients. I do understand that you'll also have an accountant that you'll suggest or that is working with you.
Yes, we mainly work with one accountant. His name is Ștefan Dumitrescu. If somebody needs the contact of a good accountant, we can give it to them. He speaks English quite well. He's very proactive. He knows his stuff and is professional. And he also has good rates. We don't have any affiliation, like we're not in the same company or anything like that, but we used to make people go to him if they want, because everybody is usually very happy with his services. And you need an accountant from the very beginning. You really do. On the SRL, you need one. As I mentioned, by law, you cannot have a SRL without an accountant. And That's why I recommend him.
Okay, okay. I have Domenico that's writing in. What legal form what legal form is best if you want to ask for a mortgage? Are there any limits with PFA or SRL? I just want to know if the question is clear for you.
I think it is clear. I think he's asking about getting some sort of financing for his business. If that's what he's saying, so if you need financing or no, a mortgage, maybe he's thinking about a personal mortgage. Okay, so we'll put it like this. If you want to get a mortgage and you have only money from your business, you're not employed anywhere or something like that, you should know that the income that you receive will not be taken into full consideration by the bank. I will give you my own example first. Like I have a home with Prima Casa, like the first house. It's a program here in Romania. And when I got my own mortgage, which is a special kind of mortgage, they did not take into consideration the entire fee that I got monthly. I think they cut a third or something from it, and it was not just taxes. They just would not take your entire money, because the idea of the banks is that when you have a business, it's much more volatile. It could go bad the next month or something. You could end up closing it, while an employment contract is a bit more stable. You will not lose your job as easily as you will lose your business. I don't agree with them that much, but it's a practice, not only in Romania, it's around the world, to some extent. I could not tell you exactly if it's better from a bank's perspective to have a PFA or a SRL. I would expect them from the entire income to take a bit more if you are a PFA. I expect them, but I'm not sure. Each bank has their own policy.
Right.
And I think before going into such details, you should talk to your bank and just tell them your situation. Like, I want to buy a house. Would it be better if I have my income in the future? Because this will take a while. You need first some income on the company. Would it be better in the future for me to have a SRL or a PFA? What do you advise me to do?
Okay, okay. So thank you for answering that, Ruxandra. Domenico, if you think the question was not really answered the way you were expecting it, please rephrase your question, write it down here. We are already past the hour, but I think I can stay a couple of more minutes just in case we have any last questions coming in. So thank you everybody for writing in. Ruxandra, it's been a fantastic 1 hour session with you. I've totally enjoyed it, as always, with you. So is there any last words of wisdom that you would like to give on this topic to our listeners today, to the audience?
Last words of wisdom. Wow, that's some sort of pressure.
Just from your experience, of course. Don't worry.
No, I'm joking. I would advise anybody to do their research first. The internet is full of resources, like free resources, even before going to a lawyer. Or if maybe you don't want to go to a lawyer, maybe you want to do everything yourself, then kudos for you, good luck. It's fine. You can find a lot of resources. Like, for example, even we have, like, on our website, rrpb.ro. It's from R&R Partners Bucharest. .ro. You can also, I think you can find it in the details of the event. You can find many free articles. We write a lot of content on business law and immigration law. You can find a lot of stuff there. And yeah, we also have, oh, by the way, I didn't have the chance to mention that you can also check out our YouTube videos. Again, it's free content. You can just go there and grab whatever you want. You gave me a great incentive, Joran. I will have one about SRL versus PFA made up soon. So
fantastic.
I'll have a YouTube video on this.
That'll be great. That'll be great.
I will try to structure everything, and you can watch it over and over again if it's more complicated. But not only us, like, try to use the resources from public authorities, maybe other consultants or lawyers. There's a lot of content out there. Make sure it's up to date, because if you have very old articles, the law might have changed. So make sure you check for that. And yeah, then make your choice, and good luck with your business. What can I say? Like, if somebody is watching us, I guess they're either thinking about opening a business, even now during the pandemic, which is really great. I think it's a good time, even despite everything is everybody's saying. I think we must seize the opportunity when we have it.
Absolutely.
And I hope everything goes great. Fingers crossed.
That's great. So people, if you'll have any form of questions, any queries, concerns with your PFA and SRL that is already in action, definitely do reach out to Ruxandra and to Remus. R&R Bucharest Partners, I have shared 2 links, just as Ruxandra has mentioned, into the live broadcast. One is about their webpage for R&R Partners Bucharest, and the other is the YouTube channel, which is dealing with the different topics that are currently trending, and one of them could be something that you need. On the other hand, you can always come up with a suggestion, just like I suppose right now we did.
Yeah.
And Ruxandra is going to come up with another video. So feel free to suggest a topic that may be important to you, or you think your group of people would be interested in knowing more about this kind of topic. So with that, I see that Domenico says thanks. So that means he is satisfied with the answer. People, and my brother also says it was a great session with you and Ruxandra. So thank you, Ilan, for writing, and I totally appreciate for watching me live on your RAN Alive with Ruxandra Visoiu on today's topic, SRL or SRL versus PFA. PFA. Ruxandra, thank you for all the insights, all the knowledge that you've shared with us, your time and your patience, and I'm hoping to see you again very soon on another topic.
For sure. Thank you for inviting me. It was very fun as always. And yeah,
I appreciate
talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon, guys. And if you need to be connected to Ruxandra, write into me and I will do the needful. Till then, have a great day ahead and enjoy the weekend. Till then, see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.